gentlemen, the 47th Flying Training Wing Commander, Colonel Tom Murphy.
Well, good morning, and thank you all for joining us as we gather to celebrate the legacy of the 4th Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, Thomas N. Barnes, an airman who devoted his service to education, community, and equality. Excited to have with us here today his 3 daughters, Mrs. Hazel Lamb, Mrs. Thyra Barnes, and Miss Theresa Neal. We also extend a warm welcome to all of the friends of the Barnes family with us here today. Of course, Team Excel would not be complete without our friends from the Del Rio community. It's great to have with us Judge Moses, Mayor Fernandez, Judge Allen, General Prather, and the numerous others who continuously support Laughlin Air Force Base and our mission. Thank you all for being here with us on this momentous occasion. Special thanks also to General Stewart and Chief Gonzalez for making the journey to Del Rio as we have the privilege of renaming 2nd Street in honor of Chief Barnes, a man who referred to his time at Laughlin as the key to his success. Not long after Chief Barnes arrived here in December 1967, he became Laughlin's first African-American senior enlisted advisor. While serving in this position, Chief Barnes was active in the Del Rio community and was instrumental in helping combine the San Felipe and Del Rio school districts into one. His success here led him to Air Training Command and finally to serve as the first African-American Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force from October 1973 through July 1977. Despite being the first, Chief Barnes was proud that his success was earned on the basis of his qualifications rather than any other factor. His most notable contribution was ensuring equality among the ranks and races and was pivotal in the creation of the Social Actions Program in 1969. Chief Barnes also understood the value of educating airmen. He believed no one should advance in rank without the proper education and worked to firmly establish the service's commitment to enlisted professional military education. Even today, his ideas shape how the Air Force trains and educates its future enlisted leaders. I think it's fitting the street we're about to rename runs along the length of our flight line. Prior to assuming his duties as Laughlin's senior enlisted advisor, Chief Barnes was the T-38 Section Chief and NCOIC of Maintenance Control. Now, this street may only be a mile long, but Chief Barnes' legacy will go on forever.
Well, that's pretty impressive introduction. You've done some things. Well, here we remind you of something. Chief Barnes' career spanned 1949 to 1977. Those were tough years for the U.S. Air Force, tough years for our nation. Do you remember? World War II ended not long before he entered the U.S. Air Force. The Korean War happened during his time. Vietnam happened during his time. Our nation itself went through turmoil. You know, racial issues and social issues and political issues. And Chief Barnes, he laid a foundation on which I today have the privilege of walking. If you think back to 1977, that was in the summer of '77 was when I entered basic cadet training at the Air Force Academy. That's the same summer that Chief Barnes retired. He had already knocked down barriers. He'd already smoothed out the rough spots. And he put a foundation in place in which I could become successful as well. You may have heard the term before that a rising tide lifts all ships. Chief Barnes established something that we could grab onto. He helped us build and lay the foundation for the United States Air Force today, the world's #1 Air Force. I don't want you to be misled because you think I just met the Barnes family here today. My daughters, Thyra and Theresa and Hazel, that we just met. I'm going to tell you something that you won't find written anyplace. When I was 2nd Lieutenant Stewart at Fort Worth, Texas, at Carswell Air Force Base in the Strategic Air Command, my squadron commander went to the military ball in Dallas, Texas. It was an annual event. They still do this. Went to the military ball in Dallas, Texas, and when he came back, he told me that he'd met, this is my squadron commander, Lieutenant Colonel Ken Dale, and I'm 2nd Lieutenant Stewart. He met Chief Master Sgt of the Air Force Barnes and his daughter. And he says, Stewart, I have already arranged for you to meet Chief Barnes' daughter. I said, no, sir, you don't have to do that. He says, do you have a girlfriend? No. Fiance, married? No. I'm a bachelor. He says, good. I set you up for a date with Chief Barnes' daughter. And I said, no, sir, you don't have to do that. He says, yes, you do. You do have to. And so this is a true story. He says, Stewart, I need you to go to the Steak and Ale restaurant. Do you have daughters? Which one work at Steak and Ale? Okay, Thyra. So I went to the Steak and Ale restaurant, Second Lieutenant Stewart, 23 years old, with Fort Worth, and I sat down at a table. And I saw this gorgeous waitress. I said, that's got to be her. Of course, I sat there and watched her all evening. I kid you not, she came to my table and said, look, are you going to order something? You're just going to sit there and watch me. I was enjoying watching. And so we got to talking. I said, wait, don't go, not so fast. My squadron commander at the ball, he said, oh, she says, you're that guy. I said, that was me. She invited me to Thanksgiving dinner at their home. And that's how I got to meet Chief Tom Barnes, was through his daughter. And I went to the family Thanksgiving dinner, and the whole family was there. It was a fantastic opportunity for me to sit and be with the family and to date his daughter. That was all. It was a good time. But that was my exposure to Chief Barnes. What a great man. It is an honor and a privilege for me to be able to be here today just to take part in recognizing the things he did for our Air Force, for our country, for his family. It is a great privilege for me to be here and to be part of this. So thank you for the invitation to the leadership, military leadership, to the civilian leadership, to our airmen. Thank you for your service and for being here. Chief Barnes has earned our recognition. It is my privilege to be here today. Thank you.